Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. We are so excited for today's video. It is another sponsored video, and believe it or not, one of the guys in our last sponsored video is in today's video.
Fantastic.
Woohoo! You might be
Everybody
wondering.
in our last sponsored video was amazing.
That's so true. And you might be wondering, who are they reacting to? Who is it going to be? Wait. It's A.C.E.
Yes.
I think that's a group, or it's A.C.E. I don't know how you say that.
It's probably A.C.E.
A.C.E. I always get that stuff wrong. Anyway, today's video is sponsored by Anna, so thank you so much for sponsoring today's video. We're very excited. We got to listen to, I believe his name is Lee. He was in the last video we watched, which I'll link so you can see that if you missed it. And yeah, if you are new to our channel and this is your first time seeing one of our videos, we're Chase and Melia, and we love singing. We love talking about singing, watching our favorite professionals do what they do best, breaking it down so we can get better at singing, and hopefully you guys can get better at singing. So if you're interested in that, stick around and keep watching.
Absolutely.
Let's get to it.
Let's do it.
Woohoo.
I'm telling you, I softly whisper tonight, you are my angel. I sit there, yeah, 다리 와이 touching tonight. I just to say, wherever you are, I always make you smile. Wherever you are, I'm always by your side. Whatever you say, 君を思う気持ち I promise you forever right now. Oh yeah.
Before they get into it too much, I want to say something that's going to sound like not a compliment at first, but it is, I promise.
Careful.
I know.
Wow.
I love how live this is. Like, you can tell there are mistakes, there are blemishes to this performance, and I think that, like, when we talk about wanting to hear live singers, it is literally not because we want perfection. It's exactly the opposite. I want to hear somebody singing live music that shows what they can do with their voice, because not only is it more impressive than when you hear less blemishes, but it's also more powerful and meaningful.
It sounds more human.
It sounds more human. It's just like people preferring to see a play versus watching a movie. There is a different energy in the room when something is happening in front of you in the moment. So I think that, yes, I'm going to address some of the mistakes or things that I'm hearing, but I can't tell you how happy it makes me to hear those things. So,
well, and I would agree with that. I mean, we just watched a really awesome video on auto-tune, and there is so much humanness in this.
Much,
and
yes.
I think that's a good thing, because it sounds real. And,
Yep.
and you can't listen to this and say that these guys don't know how to sing.
Absolutely.
They have beautiful voices.
Yeah.
But like every singer, every human being, we have a little bit of movement. It's not just a locked in pitch like with auto-tune.
yes.
So
Let's keep going before we dive any
yeah,
deeper.
don't say too much yet.
I know.
I don't need a reason. Oh yeah, I just want you, baby. Alright, day after day. Oh, この先長いことずっと。Oh yeah, どうかこんな僕とずっと死ぬまで Stay with me. We carry on. Wherever you are, I always make you smile. Wherever you are, I always
I'm sorry. There's so much going on.
There's so much going on.
Should we stop here or should we watch the whole thing and then go back?
Well, I think we should stop here.
Great.
I've seen enough
to
start my
assessment.
My even assessment.
I'm just joking.
To start highlighting specific
and breaking
things.
this down. Absolutely. Yeah. Let's do it then. Do you want to go anywhere in particular to start?
I think the beginning has less going on.
Yeah.
One thing I don't know if this is applicable to our channel.
Okay.
But I think that whoever mixed this,
I agree with that,
has a lot of room sound. So like, when people mix, a lot of people have a mic that's in the space, in the venue, trying to pick up a bit of that, just that natural reverb from the space, and you kind of use a lot of it. It sounds like a lot of it, so to where it almost sounds like a phone recording, but obviously this is not off of a phone. This is multiple cameras. This is a lot of stuff going on, and I don't feel like it's just the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's just, I don't know. It's a little bit hard to... There's so much, that's why we're hearing so much different stuff all at the same time. Like their voices aren't as clear as you hear in other recordings.
Yeah. I agree with that. And I think so cool. Sorry, even just looking at these comments, there's a lot of people talking about raw live vocals and like auto-tune, who's she? And I think that's cool. Like from the bat, you can hear that.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that, yes, it is not the most pleasing recording to listen to, but I think we're going to learn a lot from this. I think this is actually showing us a lot about singing, because I would guarantee you this is not what it sounded like in that room. Like when you're in the room and you have all of those things, you have the reverb, you have the energy of what's going on. Also, let's mention, they look like they are soaked. So this is probably their mid-set break song.
Yeah, I don't even know.
You know what I mean? Like there are so many things that we need to consider.
They're fighting for their lives.
They're fighting for their lives right here. They should be backstage taking a nap.
Taking a break.
And instead they're out here singing a cover song.
Oh,
so
man.
I just think I want to address all of those things. But let's go to the beginning and talk a little about what we're hearing vocally.
Yeah, if you really, we might mention like intonation stuff.
Yeah.
Because not from a place of, ooh, look, they sang the wrong note, but because of it's a symptom of something, and this is how we fix it.
Yep.
If you want to see me sing a bunch of wrong notes all the time, we work at a church and it streams all the time. You can go watch that.
Absolutely.
There's a ton of moments because I'm a real person who sings, with my real voice.
Yes.
And intonation stuff happens.
Absolutely.
I know the tricks that I would do to fix it in certain situations, but I'm not 100% all the time.
I'm also not afraid to sing out of tune.
Yeah, it's going to be okay.
Yeah, you're going to be fine.
And you can learn from it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So let's start at the beginning and talk from there.
Okay.
I already think he's off to a great start. Like that is not an easy place to start a song. I'm telling you.
And he slides up.
And he gets into it. Like it is, I think we talk a lot too about like glottal stops and stuff like that. And he doesn't do that. Like do you think he does? Okay, let's start again. Chase disagrees with his face.
There's no glottal attack.
He does one of those tricks we talk about, which is using like an H.
Like an H sound.
And the reason we talk about that is because it's not as hard on your voice. Like you give yourself the vowel that you're going to sing, you make that shape with your mouth, and then you have your air moving before any sound even comes out. A way to get into the habit of that is to add an H sound before, as long as you're starting on a vowel.
Yeah.
If you're starting on a consonant, it's a little bit difficult. But you usually don't have that problem with consonants because you can't make a glottal stop with a consonant. So I think he's already off to a great start. Like that's a harder note to sing right out the bat. He doesn't have a glottal stop. What do you think? Anything else?
Well, I'm going to be on the other side.
You can be on the other side.
I feel like, yes, it sounds good. And I think there's a lot of stuff going on. I think that with these types of notes, especially when you're starting a phrase, it sounds like he's reaching.
Okay.
And
that makes sense.
I'm.
Yeah.
And I think that my trick has always been, it's, you have to trick yourself. A lot of singing is a mind game, and so get ready. I'm going to say something weird.
Whoa. Is it about a train?
Imagine, instead of reaching up for that note,
yes,
that you're looking down on that note, right?
Absolutely.
I can go, I'm, versus,
yeah.
I'm. What
exactly.
is it?
I'm telling you. Oh, we're at a different key. Yep, totally.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Versus, I'm telling. Oh, sorry, I can't even.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Same note. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Right? One of them.
Yeah.
Seems like it is high, but it's not something that's like, oh, is that almost out of your range?
Your range, yeah.
And I think that all of them, when we start going down the line, are reaching a bit.
Yeah.
And so, and I reach too sometimes. Mm-hmm. If you find yourself, I'm not giving them a voice lesson, right? They have their own coaches and people who they work with. If you find yourself reaching for notes, feeling like something is just really tough to get to, ground yourself. I like to square my feet, take that low breath, and I'm not kidding you. I imagine the note is low, or I imagine I'm looking down on this note that I'm about to sing, and I land on it from here versus reaching up to it from there.
Yeah.
And I would say try that out. Mess around with your own, psyche, because a lot of this, when you step on stage and you just say things like, oh man, this is gonna go so well. All my breaths are gonna be in the right spot.
Yeah.
And all of my
my
vowels are gonna be the right thing. I'm gonna use my air. That kind of mindset is really gonna help you out, and in ways that you might not even believe until you really try it.
Totally.
And so that's my weird thing that I'm gonna say. My weird tip is don't reach up. Be grounded. Tell yourself it's not high, pretend it's not high, and then think down. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It's not it's not, it'll be so much easier. So that was my whole thing, and I'm going to just apply that to
the rest. Yeah.
Ooh, one thing I will say that he did really well, though, love his vowels. His vowels are really
super forward.
Really nice and forward.
Yeah.
So this is one where I would say the vowel is what's hurting him a little bit.
Yep.
Yo versus yo.
Yeah.
Yo. That's so much easier. I said yo.
But you have to trust. I think the thing that he does, you have to trust and let it go where it's going to go.
Sure.
Because you're going through a break, you're going up and up and up, and you have to think, this isn't high.
It's that resonance.
I have the air. It's going to go there. I'm going to make it, and you have to trust that.
Yeah. Well, I think if he only changed one thing, like, there's always more that we can get better at. But if he changed one thing,
right,
I would make it yeah versus yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so much. It's so much easier. You don't need to be super wide. Yeah.
Opening your mouth doesn't always
actually help you all the time.
Except for eating a sandwich.
Yeah. When you have a large sandwich.
Then you have to open your mouth.
Open it wide. That's a good one. I like that. Keeping that in.
Okay, let's
do it.
Okay.
So, and I hope people don't think that we're just stopping on each one of them and pointing out their flaws. And it's not about that. Every one of these guys are fantastic singers.
Yeah.
There's just certain things that I think that we're hearing really clearly.
Absolutely.
In this. This guy, I think, is not using any air.
I agree. Again, could be tired.
Could be tired. But we've heard it with other people too,
Yes.
where it's like there's not. Let's listen to this one again. So things to look for: a starting and ending of a phrase. When he starts singing, is it sustained or is it la, da, where as soon as you pull back on your air, you lose a lot of color.
Yeah.
And then it also is going to make everything else kind of shaky.
Color is
kind of shaky.
Yeah.
So let's listen to this one, and I want you to think about air, and I also want you to imagine a phrase line, and if it goes beep, beep every single time.
Tonight, I just to say,
So that's a lot. It just feels very tight and not tonight.
Well, it's like you give up.
Yeah.
You're mentally done with that phrase before you're done with the phrase.
Before you're done singing.
And you have to go all the way through to the end because that's where it falls off, you know?
That's a really good point. We
Yeah.
all do that where
Totally.
we're already thinking to the next thing. We're already,
Absolutely.
got other stuff in our head.
Yep.
But then you kind of go on autopilot for where you're singing right now. And that's a really tough line to walk.
Oh, totally.
Tonight. What is it? Tonight versus tonight.
Yeah.
It's really instead of just send your air like this. Tonight, tonight. You can have it really consistently flowing.
Yes.
Versus holding it and using your air to like as a gas pedal, push back, push pull.
I just to say, wherever you are, I always make you smile.
I like how he uses that phrase there. Like he struggles with a tiny, tiny bit of being under the pitch. He could use a little bit more air, but it wasn't a sausage phrase.
Yeah.
Like I think he is going straight through,
Yeah.
and I really thought that he did a good job with that. Like,
Yeah.
and I think he shows that pretty consistently throughout the song.
Yeah. Well, I think that I like his air.
Yeah.
I like his vowels. But one thing that we're having is a lot of that
Oh, for sure.
that tightness where it's wherever you are, where it's a lot of I don't know, that just tense.
Yeah.
You're tense. And maybe they're nervous or maybe whatever. But I hear it a lot with like kind of poppy stuff in a lot of different singers where if you kind of relax into that phrase a little bit and relax in general in terms of like, oh, I don't need to send my air by squeezing all of the muscles in my back and my belly. Like literally just
breathe out.
Just do that. If you can do this, that's all there you really need. Wherever you are, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be wherever you are. It's there's so much that, and then it makes your vibrato unsteady. It makes all of these things that much harder.
Yeah.
But I like a lot of what he's doing.
Wherever you are, I always make you smile.
Like how he carried through that.
That's what I mean,
That's
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Wherever you are, I always make you smile. Wherever you are, I'm always by your side. Whatever you say, 君を思う気持ち I promise you forever right now. Oh yeah.
That's a hard line. I promise you forever right now. I promise you forever right now.
I promise you forever right now. I agree. That's a tricky line.
That's a tricky line.
But one of the things, so there's signs of lots of tension. And I know one of these because it took me a long time to try to release it from, how I was doing things.
Yeah.
So at the end of every phrase, there's a big
Something's letting go.
At the end, so that's his vocal folds, holding tight, in pushing air, and then letting go.
Yeah.
And then letting go.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah.
And that happens, every single time.
Yeah.
And when you are coordinating your air and you're loosening up your throat, that release can, it's a really good line. I want you to listen to the releases, and then I'll try to show you what I mean.
Whatever you say, 君を思う気持ち I promise you forever right now. Oh yeah.
So he pulls off in the mic in the last one. Okay. I promise you forever right now. You can almost even, as the release is your breath, right?
Yep.
Right now. And then I breathe. You come in, and that's how you release it.
Yep.
Rather than right now. And then you breathe, right? You're pushing through, release, then you breathe. Versus pushing through, and when that's the end of the phrase, breathe, right? Pull air in, or drop your belly, as we would say.
Now, why?
Well, there's a lot of reasons why. I had a voice teacher explain it to me this way. Imagine you have a big, giant drum of water, and it's pushing. It's a lot of water pressure on this tiny little delicate valve. That you don't want to control all this pressure and this water with this tiny little valve. That's what our vocal folds are. Our vocal folds are tiny little pieces of skin that are really
delicate.
Very delicate.
Yeah.
They're sensitive. They are, it's like your lips. Your lips are soft and they're a different kind of skin. If you do this all day, every day, ask a trumpet player.
So they have to work hard.
Calluses, they get a thicker skin on there. Because it's soft, delicate skin.
Yeah.
So you don't want to control your air. You want to control your air with your belly, not with your voice. And so every time you're getting your voice to squeeze, and then you push air through it, and then you let go, so that that air comes through. That's just a big sign that you're pushing a lot of your air into your voice, rather than letting your voice ride the air. You send the air, your voice rides the air.
Yep.
And that's just how I would do it. Wherever you are, I want. You can lift and you breathe.
Yep. You don't need to push through it.
You lift. Yeah. You don't need to. You are, and then breathe.
Yeah.
You can do that as a stylistic thing every once in a while, but most people do it and they don't even know they're doing it.
Yeah.
So once you hear it now, you're never going to be able to unhear it. Whenever somebody ends a phrase, ends what they're singing with, every single time.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that.
It would hurt you.
Or do it, but on purpose.
That's true. That's true too.
I'm always by your side. Whatever you say, 君を思う気持ち I promise you forever right now. Oh yeah. I don't need a reason. Oh yeah. I just want you, baby. Alright. Alright. Day after day. Oh,
Day after day.
Yeah.
Where he pulls, because he wants to have that kind of effect on the phrase, but day after day.
He just...
And I think that you need to give it air the whole time.
Yeah.
That's how that, in my opinion, should work.
Yeah.
Your air, it's all your air all the time from beginning phrase to the end of phrase. You can have a dynamic contrast day after day. Where you pull back the volume, maybe you pull back the clarity, maybe you pull back all these other things, but your breath has to stay the same. Otherwise, you'll have inconsistent vibrato, and you might even go flat.
Yep.
He doesn't go flat, which is surprising.
It is.
But it loses. It's like it just loses all of its clarity and color.
Absolutely.
What I said earlier.
Well, and I think that it just sounds like he's out of breath.
Yeah.
Like that's where we talk about that with the indie girl singing in a video of ours in the past, where it's just that whole undersupported trend in like female pop music was just to sound like you were out of breath, and it was difficult to listen to. And I think that's what kind of it airs along where it kind of feels the same, where it feels, and maybe he is out of breath, right? Like we've talked about that a little bit. There are a lot of circumstances that can affect these things. But if you're unaware or if you are unintentionally singing, you need more support. You need more air.
And I would also say, yes, it is a vibe. Like people are like,
sure.
oh, but it's a vibe.
Sure.
You can get the same vibe having supported singing.
Absolutely.
You can get the same vibe. Day after day. You can have that same intimate, we're close, kind of whispery thing while having air the whole time.
And being soft. Like, I think the thing, too, is you almost lose the phrase at the end here.
Oh, yeah.
And that's, I think, the alternative to being undersupported.
Yeah.
So. I thought that was lovely.
Yeah.
I felt like that was very resonant.
Sure.
Do you think that I think he had the right vowel. I feel like he was, let's listen to it again really quick.
I think there's just a lot of pushing. There's a lot of
really,
pushing
even
air.
in that moment right there?
We carry on.
I felt like that was not very
better.
pushed.
Yeah,
just that one phrase.
Yeah.
And I think that he had like a really nice vibrato that just
consistent air.
Was consistent. Yeah, it was a consistent
speed.
Thank you. That was the word I was looking for.
Quick passages like that are tough, and how I would approach it is I would really know what I'm trying to say, what exactly my vowels are. I promise you. What is it? What did I promise you?
I promise you forever. Forever right now?
I promise you forever right now.
That is so hard.
Yeah.
That's a hard line.
I promise you forever right now. So it's that jump, too. It's that jump. So, but having that, have your air ready and send it even on the low part. Because what I'm hearing a little bit here is that the air on the I prom is like an afterthought.
Yep.
And that's what's going to give you the speed to make the jump.
And it's going to make the phrase sound like one thing. Because what I'm hearing is an issue with that note, which also would be fixed. Like in the first phrase, I'm hearing an issue with that note because it's one, probably scary. It's a weird note. Like it's a leading tone. And right?
Yeah.
And it's also just like you're going to have to do a big leap after that. So I feel like it's getting left out of the thought process.
Yeah.
It's a very tiny note, but it sticks out like a sore thumb when you're not using that whole phrase. Like
and when you don't connect those two things,
totally,
they sound like
yeah.
Where you are smacking one, and you're kind of the other. You know, the other is an afterthought. I think
totally.
I promise you forever. I could even do that. I promise you forever right now.
Yeah.
I promise you forever right now. Where I don't have to smack the top. all of it's really connected.
Yeah, and it goes all the way through. From the beginning to the end of that phrase, you're moving your energy forward.
Yep.
You don't sit. Yeah.
I promise you forever right now. Wherever you are, I'll never make you cry. Wherever you are, I'll never say goodbye. Whatever you say, give me your whole kimochi. I promise you forever right now.
そ So that's another thing. That's another time where it's like that kind of phrasing and like we were not joking. You're out there, you're fighting for your life, you know? You've done this a million times and you missed your breath or you need to take a breath.
Absolutely.
And I would say always take a breath if you have to take a breath. Don't push through when you need to take a breath. Nobody wants you to sing out of breath.
Yeah.
But that's where it kind of interrupted his phrase. It interrupted his jump. It kind of
it affected his pitch.
It affected his pitch because he didn't have the airspeed going.
For sure.
But all of that is stuff that happens, especially in live music.
Yeah.
So I just want to listen to it again and listen for the breath. You know, listen for that he's trying to help it. He's doing his best to give it enough air so that he can do the thing.
The thing he needs to. Yep.
Okay, so right there, I don't think he took a big enough breath.
I agree.
So he took a quick little breath.
Yep.
But I don't think it was as big as he needed. And we've all done that where we take a short breath when we need that full breath. Every time you can take a quick breath, it's still got to be a full breath, you know? So right here. Right there.
That's...
And he only has half of his breath already. And you see that he ran out of air. He's pushing. He's really losing it. And then he takes another quick half breath. And so then he can't make it through the phrase.
Yeah.
Here we go. He's got another quick little half breath. So he fixed. I think at the end he really ended that phrase strong.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is a lot of people when they're struggling to catch their breath, when they're struggling to do it the way they've practiced it a million times, if that gets thrown off, they don't know how to finish. Yeah. And that what he's doing is an absolute pro move where he's taking whatever breaths and he's moving on and he's ending the phrase strong.
Yeah.
And that's why unless you have people like us on the internet who are looking at every pausing. Second of your performance, everybody who goes to the show goes, man, that was awesome.
Absolutely.
Because he ended so strong.
I just also know exactly what that feels like. I want to watch it again, but it just like progressively gets more difficult.
Absolutely.
And you can just see how much harder he has to work as he keeps going through that phrase, which like we've talked about a bunch already in this video, but there are a lot of reasons why that is. The point of this performance, you didn't prepare, you are nervous, you are excited, or there are so many reasons why this can happen.
Oh, yeah.
So be aware that this is possible as singers. And I think this is what's cool to do after the fact is look at and go, hey, how do I make sure I'm ready for those kind of moments?
Oh, yeah.
How do I make sure, like, what can I do? Is it inevitable that part is always, like, going to be difficult? I think based on what Chase said earlier, it's amazing how much of a mental game this is. Like, I know for me, I've had moments like that in a song that have scared me that I always dread. And then I will always mess that up or I will always struggle. I will always fight at that point. Instead, change your mindset to go, I got that part. Yeah. Just like Chase saying, like, it's not high. I can get it. It's not high. Like, it is a mind game singing. And so I think having those moments in a song where you go, whoa, that's going to take a lot from me.
Where do I breathe here? Yeah.
What do I do? But you're ready for it. You're not dreading it. You're not like, I don't want to get to that part or afraid of it. Like, we can't be afraid of it either.
Or when this happens, the next time you really try to focus on taking full breaths. Even if they're quick. It's not that you don't have enough time. It's that it's exciting and you go, and you do this half gaspy, half breath, and you can take a full breath.
Absolutely. mean, watch those two sing that line side by side. And even if the guy, you know, on the far left struggles with tension like we talked about before, even if he still struggles with those problems, like you can see his body language is not quite as stressed. Yeah. He was ready for the phrase. You know what I mean?
I would say in that phrase just then, I didn't see any tension at all.
I felt like
man, that guy's got no tension.
He made it look easy, right? Like, and that's what we're talking about too. Like, and it's also, there's punk rock in it. It's like, case by case. You do want it to look like fun and have a good time. I'm not saying don't do that, but it's cool to see that side by side. That's a little bit more of what we're talking about.
That was gorgeous.
Man, that was a cool performance. Yeah. I'm a little bit mad at whoever mixed it because I feel like there was so much there that like was unnecessary. Like it could have sounded, I think that us talking about like all of the things we would improve made it sound like we didn't think this was a great performance. I think that it is incredibly impressive what they are doing. Absolutely. And I think they're doing a very good job too. I think that was a painfully isolated vocal recording. That's not a thing that you would put like on the radio. I'm surprised that that's even what they use on their official page, but I think it's cool because it gives us an opportunity to hear. Oh my gosh. I mean, you just get to hear their voices. Voices. That is totally true. And I love that chance because like we said at the very beginning, you get to hear the humanness of it. Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, and I don't know, I always think of it as an encouragement.
Yes.
That like these amazing world-class singers and musicians also take a short breath sometimes, or also you know, struggle with phrasing, or also have tension just like me.
Right.
Wow. That's so cool that like even with all of my stuff, even with singing a little flat sometimes, even with all of my stuff, I can have something to offer as a singer.
Totally.
You know, I can sing for other people and not just say, oh, it's no good, don't listen, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's something I love to do.
Yeah.
And if I constantly thought I wasn't good enough because of all of these amazing people over there, it would be so much harder. So I don't know. I think that it's a good thing.
I agree.
That real singers have to do real things. It's like, you know, you watch the gymnasts. The Olympics just happened, right? You watch all the gymnasts who have been doing this for years. They are the best in the world. Mm-hmm. They fall.
Yep.
They crash. They trip. Yep. They do stuff. They stumble. It's not perfect.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't have to be, but every once in a while you get somebody who's like incredible, but they are all incredible, even if they trip, even if they stumble. So
100%.
You know, I don't know. I just think that it's great. And I'm so glad that people are hearing actual raw vocals.
And I think too, you know, if you watch our channel and you've been here, we always talk about debunking this idea that people are just born with it and that it's not something you have to work on and that it's not something you have to develop or train. And I love things like this because they are actively professional singers out there doing this for, thousands of people, if not millions of people that are still dealing with stuff that we deal with. Not at the same level, obviously. Like, we're not saying that we're just as good or anything like that. I think that it's just, I want to debunk that idea that you're just born with it or not, that only certain people can sing and other people can't. We can all develop this skill and use technique and use lessons and use practice and use all of that just like any other instrument. Nobody was born and could just play the guitar. Nobody. You could have exposure to it at a young age. There are all of these different circumstances that can change, where you're starting from. But I think take heart and be excited that you can also improve your singing. I'm excited that I can always work on it. Every time we watch these videos, it makes us want to go practice and sing. It inspires us. So hopefully you were inspired as well.
Absolutely.
Well, we hope that you guys enjoyed this video. And if you are new, check out a video on our channel, hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, and we will see you guys next time.